If you're having suicidal thoughts or feelings or feel like you have no hope, please call 988. There, you can talk to someone who not only cares about your story, but cares about you. Please reach out today. Thomas P. Murphy once said, "Minutes are worth more than money. Spend them wisely." At Minutes Wisely, we take that to heart. Our mission is to decrease veteran suicide by providing life-changing experiences for veterans, first responders, and Gold Star families. We believe that we can make a lasting impact by rekindling a sense of purpose and fostering community through sponsored tickets to sporting events. These experiences are not just about the game, they're about the moments that can change lives. A simple sporting event can boost joy and instill a sense of renewed hope and purpose for those who have served. Join us in making a difference. Become a moment maker and empower a veteran with rediscovered hope. Visit minuteswisely.com for more information and to get involved. Together, we can make every moment count.
This podcast also supports my nonprofit where we send veterans to awesome events. It used to be strictly sporting events, but I realized that, not everybody loves sports. So we do concerts, pretty much anything. As a matter of fact, I also told you about helping childhood cancer patients. Just in September, I met a little guy, lives right here in my hometown, or not my hometown, but the town I live in now. His father is in the army. He's still in the army. His 9-year-old son had a brain tumor, had it removed back in March. And his first doctor's visit back, the tumor had already started growing back. So I did a big fundraiser for him and talked to the family. And this little boy, like the one thing that caught my attention was my intent was to send him to like a New Year's Day bowl game or something, like something really, really cool. But when I was talking to the mom's mentioned like, all Mason wants to do is build a lightsaber.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a Star Wars guy. I have no idea. I mean, obviously I know what a lightsaber is, but I didn't know you could go build one. So I did some research, hired a Disney planner, and sent a family of 4 to Disney for an entire week, everything paid for. And so that's kind of what we do here at Minutes Wisely.
That's awesome. That's
Just by talking,
yeah,
talking to other veterans, man.
that's it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, very good.
All right. So, once a week, I get together with another veteran and we get this life story. So, Matt, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll jump right in and introduce myself. My name is Matthew Currin. I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Currently is where I live. My hometown is Raleigh, North Carolina. Went to school, so your sports angle is very important to me. I went to school at UNC Greensboro. I was a catcher there, played baseball. Um, Stopped towards my senior year to become a Marine. So I became a Marine Corps pilot. Was in the Marine Corps for 14 years until I got medically retired, unfortunately. But while I was in, I was a CH-46 Echo helicopter pilot. Then flew the V-22 Osprey. I was a flight school instructor, weapons tactics instructor. Some of the things I did Operation Allied Force Kosovo, Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Pretty cool thing about that is I was there in 2001, 2002. So I was there from day one. I actually went to Bahrain and actually did the initial planning with a guy you might recognize. His name's General Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis. So I was locked in a room with Mad Dog and 3 other Marines, and we planned the airfield seizure down south, and then the airfield seizure Kandahar and all that. So that was good. And did combat operations. I led a lot of the initial missions out of Afghanistan for, in '01 and '02. So pretty cool. Went on to flight school and then got board selected to fly the V-22. Unfortunately, got medically retired. And then stayed on with the V-22 5 years, did that, left that program, and I did one of my most favorite things that I've ever done. I became an air medical pilot, so I became a first responder. Flew 659 patient flights in that time, saw stuff you just couldn't believe. In the morning, people leave their house and everything's going to be okay. And then I'm landing beside them on a highway with my, flight nurse and flight paramedic to pick them up, take them to the hospital. So life's changing on a dime, things going on there. I love that job, but I was maybe the right place at the right time. Somebody said Team Penske, NASCAR, and Indy's looking for a helicopter pilot. So current day, I am a helicopter pilot for Team Penske, NASCAR, and Indy. I'll be flying the Darlington race this weekend, the Martinsville race next weekend, but I also fly two jets, a Gulfstream 280 and a Gulfstream 150 for the Penske Corp, Team Penske, NASCAR, and Indy. I fly Roger Penske a lot. But I say all that, that's my side gig. What my passion is, I'm just like you. I have a passion, a heart to help others. And so, I have a platform called Convene Communities, do a lot of motivational speaking, a lot of speaking and stuff like that about why your story matters. And I have a story. It's called 12 Seconds, Change Everything, Why Your Story Matters. We'll probably get into that a little bit.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And guess what? Hey, I'm a survivor just like you. So
Yes.
we are both prostate cancer survivors here. So
Yes.
there you go.
Praise the Lord. And if you're listening, make sure you go straight to your doctor and get your PSA tested.
Yeah. Our PSA for the PSA.
Yes, that's
Get the
right.
PSA check.
It
100%.
can literally save your life. Prostate cancer is the number 2 cancer killer in men, second behind lung cancer, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's a funny story before we get into your story. I was just at lunch 2 weeks ago with my wife. I was sitting at the bar, having a Bloody Mary. Guy next to me sits down, and he's chatting, and he's joking around, and he said something about cancer. And I said, "Oh, yeah, it got me. I'm dealing with it right now. I'm on the back end of surgery and going every 3 months to get checked." And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." Like, I put my foot in my mouth. I'm like, "No, it's okay. I love talking about it because if I could save a life, I will." And he's like, "Well, what cancer do you have?" And I said, "Prostate." Literally out of his mouth, he's like, "Well, at least you got prostate cancer. Like, if you're gonna get cancer, that's what you want." And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. It's education time, buddy."
Exactly. Yeah, you do get that a lot. Yeah, we've lost body parts here, so
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was like,
yeah,
first of all, it's the number 2 killer in men, only next to lung cancer. And second of all, I haven't made love to my wife in 11 months. So I'm pretty sure you don't want prostate cancer.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, you don't know what it's all about until you get it, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
I have
shock,
no
like
idea.
we were talking about before. It's a shock when you get it. I had no idea that
Yeah,
it's coming. No idea. I just happened to be getting my blood tested,
yeah.
and that's it.
And they say that, it's hereditary, but, I look back and, I'm the only man in my family that's had m grandfathers, father, brothers, nobody has it.
Absolutely no family history, in my family, none of that. So, that's a whole 'nother story. We could get into the
Yeah,
pack and serving overseas and burn pits and all that, but I was,
yeah,
definitely exposed to jet fuel and all that in Afghanistan, so
yeah, so, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going through that right now. Did all my claims. I'm late to the party, so I'm 60 years old, and I never, went to the VA. Mainly because, going through this, I thought the VA was for people missing limbs and, like, horrific accidents. I had no idea, and it's when I started going through the prostate cancer thing, I was like, "Damn, like, it is you can't afford to get sick in this country."
yeah.
Like, it nickeled and dimed me to death, and when I say nickel and dime, I'm talking, like, just a PET scan alone, I could have paid off my Cadillac.
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
So, after I went through my, got situated with after my, surgery, I just went into the VA, asked for a card, went to my first appointment, and, I went from not knowing anything to 40% right away because, hearing loss and, I have asthma really bad, like, almost like where it's like COPD,
yeah,
and, the VA said that's because I was on an aircraft carrier, so I had a little bit of aviation. I worked for the pilots. I'm not smart enough to be a pilot.
I don't know about that.
So, all the jet fuel and the AFFF firefighting foam, everything that we use, they used to tell us back then, "Hey, like, the stuff that you touch it's gonna cause cancer." And we joked about it back then, I'll never make it to 60 anyways." Well, now
Yeah,
here I am, 60 years old with cancer. So I have all my claims filed. Uh, Like I said, just recently I got up to 40%, and they haven't even looked at the depression and the cancer and all that yet. So it's
Yeah.
moving forward.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Get your CNP and get your
yeah,
toxic exposure exam if you hadn't gotten that. And yeah, I was lucky. I had a great. I went. And I do a lot of stuff outside because I have great insurance from Penske that, who I work for. And then I ended up going just to get it on file. A buddy of mine told me about it. He says, you got to go. And then the
yeah,
lady that did my CMP exam, she was incredible. Like she literally laid it all out. I was medically retired for sinuses. I came out of Afghanistan and had 7 sinus surgeries. And so it had got to the point I could not fly any longer, and then I've had 2 more on top of that. So basically I had to get like my whole in here redone, and I still take medicine and Flonase and everything for it daily, but to keep it open. But yeah, it really was tied to that, all that jet fuel and that toxic exposure and all that. And then bam, right on top of it, I get the double whammy of prostate cancer.
yeah, yeah.
So something there. So
Yeah, definitely. As a matter of fact, I still I'm friends with the core group of shipmates that I still hang out with. There's 5 of us. 2 of us have cancer. I have prostate, and my buddy has bladder cancer. So it's all in the same region. So I told him, like, hey, go get your testing done at the VA and start filing your claims
yeah,
because there is a connection.
there is. Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. Yeah.
So that's another PSA for y'all. If you
Yeah.
serve in the military, get your
Yeah,
butt to the VA.
exactly. And hit us up if you need help. So
Yeah, yeah,
all about
definitely.
helping.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I had a VA appointment this morning for a sleep study because I am exhausted all day, every day. I'm just like just before we came on, I would took an hour nap, like wiped out, and so I'm going for my sleep study stuff. So to see how,
Yeah.
hopefully I can get that fixed now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Little things.
Exactly. For sure. Yeah.
So, why did you pick the Marine Corps out of the other?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, it's by default. I had, I wanted to be a pilot. That's the true answer. And I went to school to play baseball. And so I tried to do Air Force ROTC and tried to do baseball at the same time. And I figured out real quick you can't do both. And so I was there to play baseball, so I dropped that. So I had no idea. I still had this dream of being a pilot. Had no idea how to become a pilot. Didn't even know that the Marine Corps had aviation. And I happened to be walking by the cafeteria one day. There was this table set up with the old VHS running, and I see them, taking the beach and cobras flying over and, helicopters flying. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I started talking to the recruiter, and then kind of the rest is history. I just stuck with it. And went to Officer Candidate School and then graduated, went to the basic school. It's signed a the Marine Corps has one of the best kept secrets in the world. It's called officer selection, the OSO, but they have what's called the PLC program. And so if you go in and you sign your contract, you actually and pass the test, you're signing a guaranteed flight contract, unless you change your mind or something happens. But yeah, when you get it, you're in. You're going as an aviator. And so yeah, so I went, graduated from the basic school, or from Officer Candidate School. So good picture here. It's me, graduated from Officer Candidate School. Look at that. Ask them after man. There we go. At
So
graduation. So yeah, love that picture. But yeah, so yeah. And then I went basic school and then from basic school to flight school. And
do you have to know anything about aviation before you
no,
become a?
absolutely not. I had no clue. It's funny that you said that. Like, I'm not a smart guy. I just became a pilot. My major was psychology, and so one of the things that my major was psychology in college. The reason why I did that is I had to graduate with something to get to the Marine Corps. To be, I just had to have a degree. I
Yeah,
think it's one of the best things that I could working in a crew aircraft because, psychology is great for that. I also have a master's degree in counseling as well, in Christian counseling. So I've continued with that my whole life, that theme. And so, yeah, no, you don't have to know anything about aviation. They always make it a little bit more than it really needs to be. Like you got to have a math degree, aeronautical engineering. No, you don't. I'm a psychology degree. So yeah, you can do it.
I think it's just wild that you take like a 18-year-old kid, put him in college for 4 years. By this time, he's 22 years old. he knows nothing about aviation. We're gonna pick him, put him in the Navy, the Air Force, or the Marine Corps, and like 2 years later, he's flying 4,000 miles an hour. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wrap my brain around
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. You think I graduated from college. I was 22 years old in 1994. 7 years later, 29, I'm leading, some of the biggest missions for our country in Afghanistan from a helicopter side at age 29. Big, big flights, big stuff, And yeah, 29 years old, well, I had already gone through Operation Allied Force Kosovo by then, so I'd already gone through quite a bit by then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is super impressive, man.
yeah, uh, yeah. It's good. It was fun. I love that. I wish I could go back sometimes to be a part of that. You don't know how good it is while you're there, until it's gone, and it's over. So
Yeah, it sucks when you're there, but, when you leave, it sucks not being there.
exactly. And I think that's why I liked air medical so much too, is
Yeah.
it was the closest thing that I could have gotten to, that adrenaline rush, that working with the crew and all that stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, did you have to pass, like, the centrifuge thing being a helicopter pilot?
Nah, not the helicopter. We did do the when I was a V-22, we'd go up in the altitude, and actually as a younger, even a helicopter pilot, we'd go up in the altitude. And that was one of the things that got me put out at the time is because you're going up in an unpressurized, oxygen chamber, O2 chamber there, altitude. And so I couldn't do that at all. I couldn't do it today, even, regardless, But
Yeah,
so yeah, so that was part of what got me medically retired is going through that. We go
uh,
through the dunkers and all that stuff. That's
yeah.
brutal. That's brutal. Yeah.
Um, so you didn't fly jets, but did you still have to be carrier qualified?
No, in helicopters, so we fly on LHDs, so they're like just below the size of a aircraft carrier. They're still humongous. So it's a different type of thing. So yeah, in a way, we're doing different types of landings. We're not coming up straight up the back of the ship to land, but we're coming in, from the side as a helicopter. And I will tell you, I've been in it with people that have been jet pilots going to catch the hook, and they've come in a helicopter that night and they're like, this is just as scary, just as bad, because it's you're flying in a black hole, so
Right. Yeah,
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 for
yeah.
sure.
I was, yeah, I couldn't imagine, I was the air boss's yeoman, so I
Okay,
had
yeah,
access to the tower. Up there just in awe of watching these guys come and go, and man, I'm just like, "Man, these dudes got balls of steel, man."
yeah. I remember like at night we would get done with our night landings out there and it's so dark, and
Yeah,
you would go into the wardroom and you would like literally sit there and get something to drink, and everybody would sit at this table and there for like 15 minutes. Like nobody would say a word. We just sit there, and then somebody would go, that sucked. And then we'd be like, oh yeah, it sucked, but it's, yeah, again, I'd go back and do it today if I could. So for sure.
yeah, I had a couple years ago, I had on a pilot, he was a Air Force pilot, and he flew the spy plane, the U-2.
Yeah.
So he talked about, like, being up in space, how you had to wear a spacesuit and all that, but obviously, he couldn't really talk about, like, missions and stuff, but, like, he's the views up there, and he showed us some pictures, man. I was like, "Man, that's just
Yeah.
miraculous, man." Like, it's what a view, man. Like,
Yeah.
how do you give that up?
I know. It's amazing. You got somebody all the way up in space to all the way down flying a helicopter in the weeds, we
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it
yeah.
all in the military.
And in between all of them in between,
Yeah.
and they're all like each little cog in the machine,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Like, the helicopter pilots, man, like, good lord, like, the dudes going in to pick up, Bin Laden or the Venezuela president, like, man, you talk about, like, balls of steel, like, holy hell.
Yeah. Well, like people ask me like, "Well, what was it like?" And I was like, well, imagine this. I was like, I was a catcher, right, in baseball. And so I talk about this sometimes when I'm speaking and teaching and stuff like that. And I'm like, so imagine this. I'm used to as a catcher putting on my catcher's equipment and getting all fired up for a game, and getting that adrenaline rush and going out to the plate. So I'm putting on my chest protector, putting on my mask and all that. And I said, but it's a little different in combat as a helicopter pilot as you're putting on your your bulletproof vest, you're putting on your SV2 vest at the time is what it was called. And I said, you're taking your 9 millimeter out and lock and loading. And, I
Yeah.
said, so it's the same, but it's a little bit more intense, and so that's the best way it is. It's intense, and you just go do what you do, what you've been trained to do. And I think that's the wonderful thing about the military is everybody's so well trained. You just go do what you've been trained to do.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the facts.
They never stop training. Even like on a carrier when during peacetime, it's still the most dangerous place on the
Yeah,
planet.
absolutely, absolutely. But
Yeah.
you're trained and you're good at it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, things do happen. But man,
Yep.
it's like my friend asked me one time. He's like, "Well, when are you going to come start talking?" As a civilian friend, he said, "When are you going to start talking about what you did, and all the stuff that went on?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "It was just my job." And he goes, "You don't get it." He goes, "What you guys do is absolutely amazing to guys like me." And
Yeah.
he goes, "We wanna hear about it." And I'm like and I never thought about it that way, but it's true, I mean, we just did our job. We just went and did what we do, and, but what we're trained to do. But it's special. No matter if you're on an aircraft carrier, you're flying a helicopter or, a ground pounder on the ground, everything that the military does, man, it should be very appreciated by, the average American person for sure.
Yeah, and, exactly, and that was a big part of, why I started this podcast, years ago. I just truly feel like, every American needs to hear these stories because, I feel like there's not enough appreciation going around. As a matter of fact, just for America itself, like, these people that are crying about what's going on every day in their lives, it's like, man,
Yeah,
you just need to go somewhere and, like, go see what it's like somewhere else. Go put your, combat boots on
yeah.
and go to work, and you'll have a different perspective of this country.
Yeah. Let me tell you, because we hadn't really talked about it, but I'll tell you like the reason why I do everything that I do. And it's called, 12 Seconds Changed Everything. And so I have a book coming out about it here real soon and all that. And so I'll tell the story real fast. It's on July 9th of 2001. Uh, we were working, our squadron was working out, getting ready to deploy. We just had no idea what we were going to be deploying to. I was supposed to do a night hop and do some night vision goggle training with a new pilot, new crew chief. And then we had a Dash 2 aircraft. So we called a section, 2 aircraft. And I was the section leader. So I was leading the flight that night. Well, I had a combat crew chief. This guy was assigned to me on almost 90% of the flights that I did. And his name was Clark Beatty. So I walked in to sign for the book. That's like getting the keys to the car, I signed for the book and now I own the aircraft. And so when I did, he was standing at the desk and I was like, "Hey, bro, let me see the book." And he goes, "Hey, I'm not flying with you tonight. Letting this new guy fly with you, Sergeant Salah." I'm like, "Okay, good to go." He said, "But we're get together tomorrow night." So I get the book that I'm gonna fly, the aircraft I'm gonna fly, sign it, go out, meet Sergeant Slot. He was new to the squadron. We take off, and then they take off a couple minutes behind us, and then we're gonna go to what's called the LHA deck, the practice shipboard landing deck, and we're gonna do bounces, and then we're gonna leave from there, and we're gonna go fly. Um, so we're doing what's called a racetrack pattern. We're working 180 out from each other and all that. So we had an aircraft problem. So we landed on the front end of the LHA deck. They kept bouncing. And I said to the gunny in the back, I'm like, "Hey, gunny, where are they at?" He said, "Sir, they're on downwind." I'm like, "Okay, good to go." A couple minutes later, I was like, "Hey, gunny, where are they at? Can I lift?" He goes, "Did they call departing, sir? I don't see them." Sergeant Salah stuck his head out the window and said, "Are there rocks in this water?" Because he had just gotten there from Okinawa, Japan. And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Sir, come up now. They're in the water." So we lifted, kicked the nose of the helicopter around, and basically there they are. They had crashed into the water. And so, long story short, what ended up happening is they had made a 12-second human error inside of that helicopter. That's all it took. They estimate 12 seconds from start to finish. They had turned on a red cockpit dome light, made their goggles bloom out, and basically everybody focused on turning the light off, and they flew the helicopter straight into the water. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is 3 Marines died in the back. The 3 crew chiefs in the back died. The 2 pilots survived. Um, and that was literally the worst night of my life. I lost one of my best friends, the guy that was my combat crew chief, the guy that when I checked into the squadron, He saluted me. I saluted him back. We walked in together. He went to the sergeant major. I went to the XO, and then we walked out and we were assigned together. And so here's what was hard about that. A day and a half later, I found out that what caused the mishap in their aircraft had happened in another squadron a year and a half prior, but they kept it a secret. They didn't tell what went on that caused that mishap. You know what, Richard? It was a 2-minute fix. A crew chief could go out and unscrew one bolt and screw another one in, but they kept it a secret. And that would have never happened. And we probably wouldn't be sitting on this call right now. But I watched them. I was out at the LHA deck and watching them lifting the helicopter out of the water, and I promised that I wouldn't let this happen again. So for me, that promise really at first was like it was in aviation. I was, very aviation minded. And then it went to, okay, time critical environment, working with first responders and all that decision making, sharing our story, sharing our experience and knowledge. And then I was speaking at Duke University one time, and somebody, like afterwards, I had like a line of about 20 people, and you know what they wanted to talk to me about? They didn't want to talk to me about working in a trauma bay. What they wanted to talk to me about is their marriage, their relationships, and parenting. And I was like, well, wait a minute, there's something bigger to this. And
Right.
so basically, it's we all have a story, and this is what you do on this podcast. We all have a story. We all have something to share, and it's like you and I talking about our prostate cancer. Can you and I getting on here and talking about prostate cancer influence somebody else to go get their PSA check and to catch? That's the key. We talked about it before the show. You and I caught it. We're lucky.
Yeah.
Our lives got spared, but we're in a group on Facebook where every week we see guys who didn't catch it,
Yeah.
and it's not them that is putting the post out, it's their wife that's putting the post out.
Yeah.
My husband lost a battle. And so, yeah, man, I'm so purpose driven, and it's all because of Clark Beatty. I made a promise to him that I would never let his story die, and that what I would do is go out and share his story and share his life experience and for the good of others. And that's exactly what you're doing. So it's very impressive and all that.
Yeah. I love that. That's very good.
Yeah.
Is your, how did they get the 2 pilots out? Are you equipped to
Yeah, no, actually not. So the rest of the story, if I dive a little bit deeper on it, is we came up, we were flying over top, and the New River was very shallow where they crashed. We couldn't tell how shallow it was at the time. We could just see the helicopter sticking up out of the water. But so we flew over and we saw one head pop up, we saw the other head pop up, and we had 2 rafts on our helicopter, so we dropped the rafts to them. And we noticed that the 2 heads had come together at one raft, but they weren't moving and they weren't getting in the raft. They were just in. So we're like, okay, so how could we get them? My crew chiefs tried to talk me into pulling into a hover and letting them jump out. But I'm like, oh, that's a bad idea. Helicopter sticking out of the water. You never know what's underneath the water. So what we did is we went back and landed at the LHA deck, and we sent the gunny down in the water, and we took back off to keep looking. And then we heard the rescue helicopter, which did have a hoist, coming. And so we went and landed back here. And this is where, like, when I speak and I talk about it, it's where I end up crying every time I speak about it. And it's what people don't get. But my crew chief, Sergeant Law, was standing out, and we watched the diver go down onto the wreckage. He was down there a minute or so.
Yeah.
And we watched him come back up, and they came and landed straight to us. And I'll never forget what Sergeant Salah said to me. He said, "Sir, they're all dead. Take me home. I want to go home." And we didn't speak. And so we flew home up the New River. We landed. And again, what people don't get is that it continues because they met us at the helicopter. They walked us into and everybody had somebody assigned to them, all my crew, all 5 of us. They walked us straight in. They took all of us to a phone and said, okay, you can make a phone call. This is 2001. We just didn't have cell phones and stuff, right? You had a house line, a landline.
Yeah.
So I called my wife, and we have 2 young kids, at home, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And she answered the phone and she said, "Why are you calling at this time of night?" And I said, "I'm going to be home in the morning." And you know what the first words out of her mouth were? "Did somebody die? Who died, Matt? I want to know who died." And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Who died?" And I was like, I just sat there, I didn't say a word, and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes." And they go, "Hang up, Captain Curran, hang up." And I was like, "I'll be home in the morning." Well, we lived in base housing at the time. My wife went out of our base housing, and started walking, looking for the other pilot's cars, you know, to
Yeah.
see if she saw a car's missing. Well, one of the guys lived right down the street from us, not the person that died, but he was the safety officer. So as soon as the wreck happened, he was called. So she was in this mindset of, oh my gosh, Dave's car's not here, and so she's knows I'm not flying with him. Um, and yeah, so it was tough. It was very, very tough. But yeah, it was bad. The whole thing is bad.
Yeah, and, so there's a bunch of spin-off stories here that we could go,
But
but
yeah,
for one, uh, people don't realize what the spouses and the family go through while their loved one is out serving their country. Um, I couldn't imagine, you're s serving dinner, feeding your kids, a government vehicle pulls into your driveway.
yeah,
I couldn't imagine that at all, and also, there's a couple of mishaps while I was on the carrier where a sailor had died, and, they basically just scoop them up, put them in a bag, and you just keep on going. There's no time to grieve. They don't shut it down. So I'm in manufacturing right now. I'm an IT guy in manufacturing, and if there was a mishap, anywhere near catastrophic like that, they would shut the plant down for a week, have grief counselors and all that stuff, but that's not like that in the military.
you got to keep pressing. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's really hard to take, you know?
it is.
Yeah,
Well,
it's hard.
it is. And when you talk about like things like PTS and you talk about moral injury and those type things, and another thing that I speak a lot on and talk about is like it's tough because you've lost your peers, right? And so why wasn't I in that helicopter? Why wasn't our helicopter? Sergeant Salah dealt with that really pretty hard because they switched places. And he's like, well, I was supposed to be in that helicopter. It's supposed to be me over there, not Clark over there. Things like that. And so, working with Marines and other veterans on and PTSD, like I said, I have a counseling degree. Well, there's a reason. Well,
Yeah,
the first time I was asked to go speak at this training course, and it was called Crisis Incident Stress Management. And so you're talking about the aftermath of a big thing. The big debrief, bringing counselors in, and all that stuff. Well, the lady that called me said, "Hey, Matt, I want you to come speak." And I was like, "Okay, do you want me to talk about my normal stuff, decision making, human error, and all that?" She goes, "Oh, I want you to tell your story, and then I want you to talk about PTSD." And I'm like, "Why do you want me to talk about PTSD?" And she goes, "I just want you to talk about it." And I'm like, "I don't know anything about PTSD." And she goes, "Look it up." She goes, "Look it up and maybe read about it." And she goes, "Tell your story, talk about PTSD." And so she's so used to me seeing me tell the story and cry that she knew that once I went and started looking at what it was about, that I would start to understand that, yeah, you have some stuff going on there, but we want to deny it. We want to push it away.
yeah,
We don't want to talk about
yep, yep,
it. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, I always tell people I don't have PTSD because I'm like, I was never on the ground, right? But then when I started going to the VA, they had me talking to I have a couple counselors now at the VA, and, they're asking me about some events, and I was like, well, I saw a guy get pushed into, the back of a F-14 Tomcat. It was that full afterburner, and it just killed him instantly. That's like thousands of degrees,
Yeah.
and the pressure just blew him off the deck, and, I've seen a couple other horrific things. I saw a guy get sucked into an intake,
Yeah.
and they're talking about this, and they're like, "Would you ever dream about that?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I was 19 years old, how do you get that out of your head, man?" And they're like, "Yeah, you got PTSD." I'm like, "I don't no, I
Yeah.
don't."
Yeah. I'm not rated for it or anything. Like I've never really, but I talk about it. I teach about it. I talk about that. I talk about moral injury and all that. I went with a great organization called Heroes to Heroes. We went to Israel and all that. And, it was one of those things where that was the big topic is moral injury. And I think that you got to look at two things. It's the actual trauma of it that we deal with, but it's the moral injury that plays on the backside. And, not many people know what moral injury is, but moral injury is what gets us. Moral injury is what helps veterans take their own life because they have that survivor's remorse, that guilt of why did I survive? So it's a dual headed, snake there. that could
Yeah.
get you.
I'll tell you what, the one event that happened while I was in the Navy that, messed me up more than anything, and this had nothing to do with, being out or any of the mishaps. I was in Mombasa, Kenya, walking down the street, and, most ports I've ever been to, they all spoke English.
Yeah,
Mombasa, Kenya is, I mean, death and destruction in that city. There like, poverty, like, you think poverty in America is bad. You know, that's like living large to
yeah,
these people. And so I'm walking down the street and this, lady, uh, she, she was trying to talk to me and, I have no idea what you're saying, lady, and, she had a little newborn baby, and she was trying to give me she knew I was American, she tried to give me her newborn baby to take it to America, and she was crying and just doing this. I
yeah,
was like, "I can't take your baby."
yeah.
The love that that mother had for her little baby, she had so much love for that baby that she was willing to give it away to, take it to America to have a better life, and that, like, crushed my soul.
Oh, man, I can only imagine. I can't even imagine. Yeah,
Yeah, and that was 40 years ago, and so I'm pretty sure that baby's no longer with us because I think yeah, like, the HIV rate was, like,
yeah,
98%.
yeah,
There's people walking around with, like, elephantitis, like clubfoot,
yeah.
and, like, the disease. The whole town just smelled like death. It was the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
I can't even imagine. Mm,
Yeah, so that messed me up more than watching somebody die on the
yeah,
flight deck.
yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, life is crazy. I've actually I mean, I help veterans all the time. I do counseling. Like I said, I have a degree in counseling. I do it because I love it, not because it's a job.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm what I'm passionate about, you know? So,
yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, so, what was your favorite thing to fly in the Marine Corps? Was it the helicopter or was it the
Yeah.
Osprey?
Well, I'll go back. It will always be my number one aircraft will be the CH-46 Echo, you know? It's, the helicopter there, and it's because I have a lot of flight time in it, and, it was you'll understand this, it was the best unit I ever was a part of, HMM 365. It was the group of Marines that were just absolutely phenomenal. So that was part of it, but flying that aircraft, it's like if you got a car that you love and you know how to drive it. I knew everything about that aircraft. I could fly it like I owned it, you know. And that's what I went to combat in and did everything. And so you just got very comfortable in it and all that. But it's a piece of junk at the same time. It's one of there's no more obviously of them in the Marine Corps, but it was the oldest. I'm born in 1972, and we had I guess you would say the youngest CH-46 Echo at the time, and I think it was the last one that came into service. I think was 1968. So I'm flying this in the mid to late 90s, the late 90s and early 2000, and yeah, that's how old it is, it's, 40 years old or whatever. Most of them are 40, 50 years old, but it was a great aircraft to fly and good mission. You're taking Marines places or special forces and stuff like that, yeah.
Is that helicopter called the Chinook?
No, so we call it the Baby Chinook. It's called the
Oh,
Battle Frog. It's called the Frog. Yeah, CH-46 Echo Battle Frog is what they called it. I guess
yeah.
they thought it kinda looks like a frog, so but
I've,
yeah.
seen images of, like, helicopters that look like that in Afghanistan and just kinda, leaning down on a tower so the guys could get out. I'm like, that
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's pretty impressive how you could just,
Yeah.
back up to
Yeah, done
a
it on
mountain.
mountains, and yeah, I've done it, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. It's good, and it's just like the same technology kind of as the Chinook, that they have there, but just the older version of it, so, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
How was it flying with the night goggles on?
Yeah, so, I mean, well, everybody's probably seen them, like, in movies and different stuff like that, but basically, it's really awesome. It turns day into night, but obviously, it works off of ambient light, so the more light if, let's say, the moon's out, we know that sometimes the moon's out, sometimes the moon's gone, it's on the other side of the earth and stuff like that or whatever's not showing. So the more light that you can get, the brighter it is. So it can take day and turn it into, or night and turn it into day, or it can be actually very, very, very dark. So I loved it. I mean, night vision goggles are a game changer as a pilot at night, especially flying helicopters where you're down in the weeds and flying in mountains and different things like that. I don't know how people used to fly without them at night in combat and stuff like that, or as a first responder, for sure.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
What was your main mission? Dropping Marines off to go fight or
Yeah.
picking up,
Absolutely.
wounded?
We called it assault support is the idea. And so we're taking Marines in to do, support the ground mission. And so that's the job. But we also do like, combat cargo, stuff like that. We could take cargo, resupply, different things like that. Other things we do is medevac standbys and stuff like that. So yeah, it's assault support. So to take a war fighter and get them where they need to be. And so that's what was pretty cool about it.
How do you deliver them? Is that fast roping or you just drop a hatch and everybody runs up?
It just depends on the environment. All of the above is all of the above. If there's a place that you can land, like a landing zone, you're going to land and they're going to come running out the back. But I've also, let people fast rope to, 15-story high buildings and stuff like that. And I've let people fast rope onto ships and stuff like that. So I've also done exactly what you've talked about, where in mountain area training or mountain area flying, not training, but where I backed up, put our main mounts down and they come running out the ramp, and jump on the top of the mountain. So it's all of the above. And that's what's pretty cool about it. It's such a pretty diverse mission and all that you can do in that thing.
Uh, I would assume you took a lot of enemy fire. I mean, you're like a sitting duck out there.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting when you get shot at the first time in a helicopter. It's like you can't hear anything. You got a helmet on, you see I got my helmet back there and stuff. You got a helmet on and you're inside of a loud helicopter. So you don't know you're getting fired at unless you see the muzzle flash or you see the tracer rounds go by you. And the first time we got fired at was actually in Kosovo. First time I got fired at, and all of a sudden these tracer rounds. And I remember looking off the side of the helicopter and somebody goes, "What was that?" And then it took like a second to register that those were tracer rounds coming at us. And yeah, you break and you get away. Our job is to, not fight it, but it's to get away. So we have 50 cals on hanging out with the windows. And so they'll suppress to disengage or whatever, but we're not going to, try to stick around unless we're going into a hot LZ, and then you're going to stick around and you're going to unload,
Yeah.
and fight it out, but we also have like Cobras and, our Hueys and our, up higher air support with us and all that. That's where I became like what's called a, WTI in the Marine Corps. It's a weapons tactics instructor. So that's the equivalent of a Marine Corps, a Navy Top Gun. That's our equivalent to it. So I'm a WTI, I'm a weapons tactics instructor and all that. So we learn how to fight the full battle, which is called the Marine Air Ground Task Force. That's what we're there to support. That Marine on the ground is what a Marine aviator does. And so we learn how to fight the whole battle and integrate everything together. So if I'm going in as an air mission commander, I'm in charge of it all. And so that's it, the fixed wing and everybody like that. So
So do, Marine officers, do they get the EGA tattooed also?
that's funny because we actually had this conversation with my wife a couple weeks ago. It's funny that you said that. I don't have any tattoos, but I did say, well, if there's one tattoo, I always joke with her. I tell her name is Tisha. And I say, well, if I had one tattoo, it would say T love, across my heart. And I said, no. And she's like, no, you're dumb. You're stupid. But the honest answer is, if I had one tattoo, it'd be a Eagle Globe and Anchor. It'd be a EGA. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, Marine officers do. They'll get the EGA and get it hidden a lot of times. But yeah, uh, I don't have one, but that's what I'd have for sure.
Yeah. I have a lot of Marine buddies and they all have the EGA tattooed.
Yeah, exactly. That's
It
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had one, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
So for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Alright, so, hey, we're at 45 minutes, but before we wrap up, do you have, like a mission that you could talk about, something that, you think about go back, years later and it could be combat or it could just be anything that doesn't.
Yeah. No, I would go back if I had to only pick one.
Yeah.
Well, I've already talked about it. I'd go back and change that night. That would be the one that I would
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
But we've already talked about that. So yeah, inside of combat, probably one of the biggest that I led in Afghanistan was, at the time it was a 14 helicopter launch with fixed wing above us. and I was the air mission commander for that one. And it was to go to a place in the mountains. And it was where bin Laden had met with the Taliban to tell them that we had, that we were, yeah, that they were bombing us. They were going to bomb the trade centers. That was the intel on it. And it was a big buildup to this mission. So they actually came in, built a full terrain model with like backhoes and all that, and that was pretty cool because I, briefed it, planned it, and was with special forces from another country. So it wasn't even with U.S. forces. So we were leading it, and I was in the back of the Huey with a special forces guy from another country, and it was pretty cool. So we were able to fly it on a piece of equipment, like mentally fly it. And so I had flown like on this 3D piece of equipment. So I had been there and done that mission when we took off pre dawn. I had flown the mission probably 30 times already. So I remember flying up. I was in the back of the Huey. Remember flying up the terrain, going, I already know what that is. I know what that is. I know what that is. I'd done it so many times. And so it's pretty cool to get up and actually watch these guys prosecute the targets and all that, and just go through that mission throughout the day, and then get them all out and fly back to Kandahar and all that. That to me was, for me personally, that's one of the coolest that I did because, and I did a lot of cool ones. There's other ones I could tell you that
Yeah.
were pretty cool, but that was proud moment for me because at the time that was one of the biggest missions that had been led, like biggest single mission that had been led since the Vietnam War and all
Yeah.
that for our country and all that. So I always took that away, that I was able to lead that one and do that mission and and all that. So it was pretty cool. That was a good one.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Without giving too much details, and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one. There was another medevac that I did that was really, really cool. So I could go on for days. So
I bet.
yeah, exactly. But that other one was a really cool one too.
I had a Marine on about a year or so ago. I think his name was John Warren,
Mhm.
and he spoke about a famous Marine, Olet. He was killed. He actually called in his own medevac while fighting the enemy, and he was the point man where he shouldn't have been the point man because he was the lead Marine in this mission, but he didn't want his junior Marine to get hurt, so he did it himself, and it ended up costing his life. And I just thought it was amazing that while he was fighting, like with his leg was blown off and he was still in the fight, called in his own uh, medevac and told the person on the other side of the line that, he was dead,
Yeah,
right? And,
it's amazing.
then he ended up getting, posthumously, a Navy Cross.
Yeah,
I think they talked about bumping it up to a Medal of Honor, but, man, I'm just like, "Man, these guys are just, and they're phenomenal, man." Like,
yeah.
Marines are a different breed.
Yeah, the book I have coming out goes into a lot of it. And I go into I only tell 3 different stories, but I tell that one, I tell the medevac story, and then I tell another one where I actually, unfortunately ended up, coming in and landing and the nose wheel snapped. And so I flew the helicopter back to Kandahar and landed it on pallets and all that. But after I landed it and shut down, the next day, one of my crew chiefs comes up to me and was like, "Hey, Captain Curran, you only had a half gallon of fuel in each tank. You didn't even have 30 seconds of fuel left." And,
Wow.
that was their third attempt to land on the pallets, and I swear to you, God had a hand in that landing,
Yeah,
I'm
for
telling
sure.
you. And so so I go pretty in depth in that story as well, but it was, yeah, we came back and we didn't have another go around to land it, but that's a pretty cool story too to talk about.
Yeah,
We
that's
need more time.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, might need a part 2.
Yeah, we need a part 2 for sure. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yes, our ship was up in, Bering Sea in January, so this is back when, Reagan and Gorbachev were button heads, Russia
Yeah.
versus USA, Cold War crap. We're coming back from, actually from the equator, and our deployment was over with, So we all thought we were heading back to California. And then all this cold weather gear started flying on because this is January. We were supposed to be home January.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I work for the Airbus, so I see everything that comes and goes. I'm like, I'm confused. Like, we're going to California. Why is all this cold weather gear coming on? And we're talking like medication, like
Yeah.
cough spray and all this stuff. I'm like, this is not making sense. And then the skipper came on and said, yeah, we got diverted. We're going to
Yeah.
past the Aleutian Islands into the Bering Sea. And I'm like, it's freaking January, man. Like, this is like deadliest catch shit, man.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that's the worst. Like, I think here's the deal. When the rumors start, Marines and other sailors and everybody, we go crazy. We don't like
Yeah,
rumors. But
yeah.
when you come over the daggone radio or over the dang intercom, and you basically say, "Hey, we've been extended. We're going here. Suck it up."
Yeah.
And we suck it up and we do it. We might bitch for a minute. We might be pissed off for a minute. But once we're told, "Hey, you're getting extended. Suck it up," that's better than just the rumors that you're getting extended.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And, we
Exactly.
knew it was gonna be bad, man, but once we got up there, man, the temperatures were like -30. Uh, you couldn't see, like, the storms were just like crazy, like,
Yeah.
snowstorms, and we actually, and they said you have to launch and recover aircraft up there because we're trying to prove to Russia we can go anywhere, anytime, right? And so, we'd launch a sortie, and then, to catch them, we had to, navigate the ship around to find a opening in the weather. And so
Yeah.
we'd find the opening and we'd go through it, land an airplane, go circle around, find that opening again to land the aircraft. And man, the life expectancy if you were to fall overboard was like 3 seconds, like you're done.
Yeah.
There's no getting you.
There's no way. Yeah, exactly. But that's what we do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's
It
what
was
we do.
crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, yeah. So that's like my claim to fame is the when I watched with my kids, Deadliest Catch, I was like, "Oh my god, I did that." I
Exactly.
didn't catch any crabs, but I was there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to survive. I hate cold weather. I hate cold
Yeah,
weather.
it was miserable.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I tell my wife we need to move south all the time. I'm like, "We got to go," you know? I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she's
So
like, "How are you a Marine?" I'm like, "Well,
yeah, it's tough.
different times."
Alright, hey, before we, shut down, I always give my guests, like, 15 minutes to talk about what they got going on so we can pimp their brand. So, uh, why don't you talk about, what you got going on?
Yeah. So, yeah, be on the lookout. And, maybe by the time people are watching this, we're getting ready to launch a new platform. It's called Convene Communities. It is a platform with a purpose, just like what you do. It's like, I believe that we all have a story, we all have something to share. And it's important that we come together for the good of others and help each other. And so that's what the whole idea with the platform. It's not new, it's been around, but we're relaunching it as a new platform, new tech and all that. It's going to be really, really good. You'll hear about it. It's coming. You'll see a lot of content creators, a lot of people that have nonprofits, podcasts, all different things. I believe that we'll capture everybody on here because
Yeah.
I think just like you, everybody that's out here doing, not everybody, but the majority of people out here doing, they have a heart for it to help others. And it's a platform where, hey, can we bring together all resources that we possibly can to help each other, lift each other up and make a difference in people's lives. And that's my mission. That's your mission. And, hey, can we bring people together and do great things? And that's the idea. Convene. That's the word. Come together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking forward
Uh,
to it.
I love meeting other people that have servants' hearts. It's very inspiring, especially in the climate that we live in today. I feel like it's kind of a rare thing these days.
Yeah.
But I think once somebody hits rock bottom or is faced with cancer, I think that kind of changes them also. But I've always had the heart for it. But
Yeah. Yeah, me too. It's what I live for.
yeah,
Like I said, Penske's a side gig in my mind. Convene we're going to make a difference. But I figured out a long time ago is actually coming out of that Duke speaking experience is like, I had a platform where I was just working with businesses, business to business. And I'm like, wait a minute. I can only affect this many people, but if we all work together, we can, we can make a
Absolutely.
difference in this many people. And that's the key. Like on the platform, when I see people, it's a lady named Lisa that helps veterans file for Social Security and disability benefits. She gets these most amazing testimonials, but it all happens on the Convene platform, like the training and everything,
Yeah.
to file for Social Security and disability. So she'll send me these testimonies. When she gets the testimonies, just like me getting the testimony, because we wouldn't have been able to help those people if it wasn't for what she's doing and what the platform's doing together. So that's it. Can we make the biggest impact in the world? That's what we
Hell
need to
yeah.
do.
Yes.
Yeah,
And, like, when I send somebody to a sporting event or another event and, like, it's completely free and, we roll out the red carpet,
it's awesome.
best seats, club seats, we'll pay for your dinner, your parking, whatever you have to do, just get that veteran out of the house, and, the only thing I ask for is photos of the veteran at the event because I just love seeing these guys with, smiles from ear to ear.
Yeah.
Man, it just does my heart so good.
Yeah, I love what you're doing, man, and sports is everything to me. So,
Yeah.
when I got cancer, it's one more story, and I know we need to go, but
Oh,
I'm a big Tar Heel, you see, I'm a big Tar Heel, and I'm also a Drake May fan, so by default, I'm a New England Patriots fan, so, it was too expensive to go to the Super Bowl. However, I have never in my whole life been to a Duke Carolina basketball game. And I have a daughter who's a senior getting ready to graduate from UNC. I have another daughter, the one that's a doctor, she graduated from UNC. But my wife was like, "Hey, I want you to go with Laney to watch Duke play. Duke and Carolina at Chapel Hill." So, and that's where if you watched anything or saw it, that's where uh, um, Seth Trimble hit the shot with zero point 0.4 seconds left in the game
yeah.
to win, and so I was there with my daughter, and so I love what you're doing because that is one of my most proud and most special moments of my life is being there
Yeah,
with my daughter.
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
Um, we have, season tickets to 2 NFL teams, so we're trying to build off that.
yeah.
Detroit Lions and Tennessee Titans, so I'm looking at, maybe adding the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but we'll see how that goes. But speaking of sports, man, like, in 2011, uh, my hometown, Dearborn, Michigan, they honored me with the Veteran of the Year for the work I've been doing. So
That's so
I've
cool.
been helping veterans for a long time, and my daughter was a senior, a senior at I don't know if she was a senior or not, but she was a student at Michigan State University, and that day on that morning when I was on the podium at 11:11 in the morning, getting my award from the mayor, the governor, and all these people, the Michigan State Spartans were playing a basketball game on the
On the ship.
back of the carrier that I served on.
Yeah, that was against UNC.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
guys beat us.
yeah,
So it was
yeah.
my daughter was a student at the school that was playing on the aircraft carrier that I served on. Like, it was
That's
the
awesome.
and I was at the podium getting my award for Veteran of the Year. Like, it was like, talk about full circle. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
that's really cool. How cool is that? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
It would
Wow.
have been better if we would have beat you guys, but hey, I can't
Yeah,
have everything.
yeah. Well, one of the things I did coming out of Afghanistan, everybody's seen Bull Durham,
Yeah.
right? So for the Durham Bulls, me and my buddy, we threw out the first pitch for the Durham Bulls, and all
Oh,
that.
that's pretty badass.
Yeah, and they had the bull up in the outfield still and all that they had in
Yeah.
the movie. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you, did you watch it? Have you been watching any of the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
So
Love it.
the game against DR the other night, the last pitch, was that a ball or was that
It
a
was
strike?
it was a ball, but okay, you can see this right here. I'm also an umpire,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I went to this thing called the Wounded Warrior Umpire Academy. I'll throw a plug out for that. The Wounded Warrior
yeah,
Umpire Academy, amazing organization, does amazing things for people. And I went. That's the honor grad. I was the honor grad, and I got that mask for being the honor grad. And so I've been umpiring. Umpiring's hard. It's freaking hard. I mean, those guys are throwing. Their curveballs are in the low 90s. Their
yeah,
fastballs are hitting 100. So, and that curveball dropped off the table. I
it
mean,
did.
it dropped that much. And so
right the last second too.
Oh my gosh. And that's the point. At the last second, it dropped at the last second. So was it a ball? Yes, it was a ball. However, that was also an amazing curveball that dropped off the table at the last second.
Yeah,
And so yeah, it's tough. It's tough because I know that those guys are, how's the ball? But what about all 150 other pitches before then? You didn't put
yeah,
any runs on the board before then, so you
right.
can't
You
go
left,
back and
yeah,
blame it on one pitch.
yeah. There's like what 4 innings that you left runners in scoring position. So
Exactly.
let's not talk about the one
Yeah,
pitch.
exactly. But they'll always go back and say,
Yeah, of course.
Tatis was next up and you'd had runners at first and third. So I get that too as well.
Yeah,
But it's part of the game and umpiring's hard. I didn't realize because I was a catcher and until I became an umpire, I didn't realize how hard umpiring was, till I became an umpire.
yeah. I think I think baseball might be the hardest sport to play. I say that maybe not the most physical, but the hardest because how do you hit a pitch that's coming at you 99 miles an hour? And when it leaves the pitcher's fingers,
Yeah,
it's in
you got to know.
the glove instantly.
Oh, you got to know if you're spinning. You got to know if you're swinging instantly.
Yeah,
And that's phenomenal. I always think about that the other night as I was watching those guys throw 100. I mean, in college, I would see, lower to mid 90s, and that was incredible. I only saw one guy who's a guy I grew up with. He played in the pros for a while. In fact, a guy named Brian Moeller that if you know Detroit baseball, Brian Moeller was a Detroit. I played with him at UNC Greensboro, but he was a starting pitcher for Detroit, the Tigers for a long time. But this guy named Paul used to hit 100. But other than that, we're mid 90s at the highest. I
yeah,
can't even imagine it's a fraction of a second where you have to know if you're going to swing.
yeah,
I mean, I think back to the science of it and just how, the arm angle, if it's leaving and if the guy goes like that or if it's a split thing, you're picking all that up with your eyesight and you're deciding whether or not you're going to swing like that. It's
yeah.
phenomenal.
You have like pitchers like Justin Verlander, who's continuously throws triple digits late in the game, and Nolan Ryan, man, what a
Oh
freak of nature that guy was.
yeah, he was. Yeah. And he was a freak back then, hitting 100.
Yeah,
Now it's not uncommon for guys
right.
to hit
Yeah,
101, 102. It's absolutely
yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine if he was pitching today. Like, what the hell would he be doing in today's market, man?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, it's so much fun. I can't wait till opening day here in a couple weeks, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
love
love it.
baseball.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. We go
Hey,
see
well,
the Tigers every once in a while up there when I'm up there flying. So it's good.
uh, yeah, I love. I grew up like 5 miles from the original stadium, Tiger Stadium, and then now the new stadium's right down in the heart of the city. But my dog's named after the original stadium, Briggs. It was
Wow.
called Briggs
That's cool.
Stadium. So yeah, my dog's name's Briggs.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I love it. I love
Yeah,
what you do. I love what you do. I think it's great.
everybody's like, "Why's your dog named Briggs? Were you in the brig in the service?" I'm like, "No, it's a stadium."
Right. That's funny. That's funny. That's actually a good way to put it together. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. I love it. But I also have a sports uh, podcast that goes every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. So if you're ever up for a sports chat with a bunch of guys, we would love to have you on there too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd definitely come on. Yeah. I love talking sports. That's my life. My life is sports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
But like the stats and everything don't stick in my head, and I forget a lot. But the people on my podcast, they're a lot younger than me, so
yeah.
I lean on them for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, numbers go in one ear and out the other for me, but
Yeah, exactly.
I'll talk the game.
Yeah, for sure. I love watching. I love being a spectator, but I couldn't be a statistician. But one buddy who was on the podcast with me, he actually went to school for journalism, and he was a sports writer for the Detroit News at a very young age. And then, that's a tough
That's
market
cool.
to cut into, so it didn't really pan out for him. But he loves writing about sports,
Yeah.
and I love
That's
reading his
awesome.
articles. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
All
awesome.
right. Well, I won't keep you up any longer, but I'll shoot you an email about the sports podcast. And if you need anything here in Middle Tennessee, or my reach is very deep in Michigan. If you need anything, if anybody that needs anything in Michigan, let me know. If you know of a veteran that would love to go to a Detroit Lions game or a Titans game, 100, 100%. Hey, when as soon as the schedule comes out, I'll shoot you an email. I'll give you first of the schedule this year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I'd love to do it. It's like I said, sports is everything to me. So
Yeah. So when I started, my tickets were in the nosebleeds, but as I grew and grew and grew, people were loved what I did. They're throwing money at me. One company actually every year now they give me a $10,000 donation. So what I did was I took that $10,000, I spent 100% of it on my Detroit Lions tickets. So now I went from the nosebleeds all the way down in the front in the action. Like when I'm in the end zone, but when there's a touchdown in that end zone, it's literally you can see the sweat beading on their faces.
that
That's
is
how
awesome. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
yeah. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So the schedule comes out in another month or so, sometime in April. If I don't know what your favorite team is, but just let me know if they happen to be in Detroit. Like I said, I'll give you the first dibs
Yeah.
on the tickets.
Yeah. I love it, man. I would appreciate it. That'd be cool.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love. Like I said, all you gotta do is send me pictures while you're at the
I'll
stadium.
send them. Yeah, I'll send them. That's for sure. I'll send them, post them. I'll do videos. I'll do everything.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
All right, I'll shoot you some emails and let you know when this one goes live. And I appreciate you coming on and telling your story. And most of all, I want to thank you for your service to this great country, the country that I love so much.
Yeah. Same here, Seth. Same to you, man. Thanks for your service, and thanks for everything you're doing for veterans and people, not just veterans, but just people
Sure,
in general. I love it.
sure. All
Yeah,
right, I'm gonna hit the stop button. Stick around for a second. Make sure you're uploaded.
will do.